Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Kim Gadji-Alexander. I'm one of the directors of Bethesda Green. We are a nonprofit based in Bethesda, Maryland. Our mission is building a sustainable urban ecosystem. And today we have a presentation from Kathleen. Why don't you say your last name again, Kathleen, just to make sure I don't.
Wojtowicz.
Wojtowicz. Okay, perfect. And Kathleen is going to walk us through CleanChoice Energy today. And there we go. And she's the field marketing manager for CleanChoice Energy, which is great. And we do have a promotional offer that we'd like to share with folks today. And so Kathleen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can go ahead and share your screen and we will get started.
Just one moment, pulling up the presentation.
Perfect. And if folks have questions, you can feel free to take yourself off mute or put in the chat who you are. That'd be great.
Present. Excellent. Can everyone see the screen?
Yep, you're good.
Great. So thank you so much for being here today, everyone. My name is Kathleen Wojtowicz. I'm from CleanChoice Energy. I'm a passionate animal and environmental activist. I used to be in the policy world, and to be honest, at one point in my life, I was a climate denier. And when I went to college and started kind of uncovering some of the data and getting into the policy world, I realized how bad the problem was, and decided that I wanted to make it my life's work to help mitigate climate change and reverse it if at all possible. And so that's how I came to CleanChoice Energy. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing, and I'm really excited to share our work with Bethesda Green and helping young leaders really develop that passion that we all need to have to make sure that we have a healthy planet for today and for tomorrow. So I wanted to give a quick overview of CleanChoice Energy, who we are, how we got started. And this is a long write-out that I'm just going to summarize for you. And essentially, I'm from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Tom Maxey, our founder, is from the Pittsburgh area of Pennsylvania. You know anything about Pittsburgh, you know it's steel country, right? So especially pre-EPA regulations, Tom's family grew up in this area where essentially the steel plants were spewing a ton of pollutants into the atmosphere. And every morning his dad and his aunts would have to, and all their neighbors would have to go out to the front porch and sweep off the porch from what they called black sugar. And it was essentially this heavy pollutant that plagued their neighborhood. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is that Tom's family and many of the neighbors all developed the same type of cancer. And this is from the pollutants that were caused by this industrialization of the area. So when Tom got older, he didn't want to partake in the polluting, the planet. And so he decided to install solar panels on his rooftop so he didn't have to, partake in burning these fossil fuels. But the process was really challenging. It was, lots of permits. It took a lot longer than he expected to. And it was also a really big upfront cost. And so out of that, Tom realized that he wanted to make it easier for folks to choose clean electricity no matter what. So that is how CleanChoice Energy was born. And with CleanChoice, you can be a homeowner, you can be a renter, and you can still choose clean electricity no matter what. Because what we need to do is come together to build and grow the clean energy industry so that we can push out the dirty, polluting fossil fuels. And feel free as we kind of go along to pop in and ask questions if you like, or we can save them for the end if you want to type them in the chat. But happy to dig in a little bit deeper on any of these questions. So I want to just kind of break down the electricity grid for everybody. So I don't know about you all, but for me, when I first started working for CleanChoice, I hadn't thought about electricity beyond I flip the switch and my lights turn on. And that's all I thought about, right? I pay my electricity bill every month, and I never really thought much further beyond that or the impact that my electricity has on the environment. So breaking down what the electricity grid, so we all kind of have an idea. Electricity is going to be generated from multiple sources, right? So it's generated from fracked gas, coal, a lot of nuclear energy in this area. And all of that electricity is generated from various sources as well as renewable sources like wind and solar farms. So all of that energy is going to be generated, and then it's sent via transmission lines to transformers, and it goes into the electricity grid. That electricity is then redistributed as moving electrons through a series of wires and poles. And so in our area, those wires and poles are owned by Pepco. If you're in the Bethesda area, other parts of Maryland, maybe BGE. I'm down in DC, we also have Pepco. And so those wires and poles are always going to be owned by the utility. They're always going to deliver that energy for you. But where we have a choice is where that energy is being created, where you're sourcing your electricity from. So, from the generation sites, we've got a little bit of a choice in that. Where do we want to pay for electricity to be generated? All of that energy, like I said, is still going to go through the same wires and the poles. It's going to go into the grid, and it's going to be redistributed into your home. So this kind of brings me to the next point of where does CleanChoice Energy come in, and how do we play a role? So as I said, electricity is going to be generated, and we want to choose where that electricity is coming from. And because we live in, the DC, Maryland area, we actually have the opportunity to choose where our electricity is generated. And that's not the case for all states. So I kind of put this map up just for a broad overview of what electricity generation and energy markets look like. So as a DC resident, as Maryland resident, you have the opportunity to choose. But unfortunately, in our neighbor Virginia, Dominion has a monopoly on that system. So there is actually, you cannot choose a third-party energy provider to choose where your energy comes from. So we really have this great opportunity in DC and Maryland to say, hey, I don't want Pepco going out and purchasing polluting fossil fuel energy for me. I want CleanChoice Energy to purchase, clean wind and solar power. And so that's where we take a step into this market and how we're able to do what we do. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on this. The energy market is very weedy. We can get into that if we'd like, but this is just kind of a high overview. So CleanChoice Energy, what do we do? How do we come in? What we're asking you to do is choose clean energy over fossil fuels, because we're trying to transform the grid, and our mission is to combat climate change. With CleanChoice, again, you're going to pay for wind and solar power. Wind is more viable in this area, so we're about 99% wind and 1% solar, and that energy is coming from our region at 150 miles from your home. We're really trying to grow the industry here in our area so that we can, create jobs, create the foundation. And another thing that comes along with choosing clean electricity and helping us build up this industry is that the price for clean energy is going down so rapidly. Just a couple of years ago, clean electricity cost 17, 18, 19 cents a kilowatt hour. With CleanChoice right now, we're looking at about 9 or 10 cents a kilowatt hour. And that number is predicted to continue to go down for the energy market, because as the gas, the coal, that infrastructure has already been built. And so it's cheap for them to create that energy. We just need to build up the clean energy market so that we can continue to lower those costs. And thanks to early adopters, we've been able to do that. And this is where you can come in and help us continue to drive clean energy into the grid. It is super simple. So you are simply opting in to choose clean electricity. You don't have to do anything. There's no sign up or cancellation fees. No one has to come out to your house. You're not changing the way you pay your utility bill. So if you're paying your Pepco bill and you're on auto bill pay, you're going to stay on auto bill pay. And you'll pay your Pepco bill. You'll just see a little box under supply, and that's going to say CleanChoice Energy. And that's how you know that you are paying for 100% wind and solar power from the region. We have a 12-month fixed rate, a special price for our work with Bethesda Green. I can work with you on a one-on-one basis. If you have any questions about that, it depends on your zip code, but we're looking at about between 8.9 and 9.5 cents a kilowatt hour. And again, there are no sign-up or cancellation fees for choosing clean electricity. And then on average, you might have already read this down here, but each household is preventing about 19,000 pounds of carbon pollution per year. And if you drive, that's like not driving your car for an entire year. So to put it in context, it really does make a big difference for the environment to choose clean electricity rather than continuing to have Pepco purchase those polluting fossil fuels on your behalf. We are so excited to be working with Bethesda Green to support their environmental leaders. This program is a year-long program with some really fantastic young students who are working on a broad range of projects, from reducing plastic to plantings, and we need everybody to get on board with this. And one thing I even wrote this here, take actions for future generations. And after I wrote it, I even thought to myself, this isn't even about future generations. This is happening now. Climate change is affecting us today. There's so much to dig into on the impacts that climate change is having on us today. And so it's not just for future generations, it's for all of us today. There are deaths, thousands of deaths caused every year due to the pollution from burning fossil fuels. The list goes on with the damage that these polluting fossil fuels do to our planet and to people and to animals. And so we're asking you to support these environmental leaders who are going to be key to making change and helping us move forward for a bright future. When you make this enrollment in clean energy, we're going to make that $50 donation. And then for every 10 people that get enrolled, we're actually doing an additional $500 of a donation. So for every 10 folks who get enrolled, it's a $1,000 donation. If you have friends, family who would be interested in choosing clean electricity, the more the merrier, the more money we can donate, the better. We're really excited to be working with some young folks on this important mission. I provided the link down here, and I can drop it in the chat as well. And then I did
it's already in the chat. Thanks, Kathleen.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
And I did just kind of want to click on this environmental leaders program to show you some of the students who are working on this project here. And so if you're interested, you can go and check them out, but they're working on a lot of great projects. They've got blog posts up. And Kim, maybe if you wanted to drop this, actually, I could just do it right now. I'll drop this link in the chat because I think it's just really great work that they're doing. And it's really impressive to see young people really taking a stance and saying, we need to do something to mitigate climate change today. So I'll drop that in the chat in just a few minutes. And that is all I have for you. I wanted to provide a brief overview. I'm happy to dig into questions as they come. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Actually, Kathleen, would you mind leaving your screen up with the rates and everything? That would be great.
Yes.
All right, and I'd just like to say the picture of the students doing a planting, that was an actual student planting that we did at a property where Bethesda Green has a stormwater reduction project called Glenway Gardens Condominium, and those are two of my environmental leaders from last year, so it was fantastic for the students to participate. So we'd like to open it up to questions now. If folks have questions, they're more than welcome to take themselves off mute. And any questions today? Or you can feel free to put them in the chat also if you want. And Kathleen, thanks for the shout out for the environmental leaders and including that link to the page. Our students are doing some really great work. They've got some fantastic blog posts up. They're looking at, compostable packaging. There's some students that are doing, there's a blog post on, different types of compostable packaging, different recycling efforts that are happening in the county, and then also a few blog posts on wildlife. So it's really fantastic the way the students are getting involved. So it's exciting. Any questions from our audience?
Hi, Kim, it's Jordan, and I can ask a question that I think maybe some of our supporters might have. And that's how prices compare to, the energy that they're currently receiving.
Jordan, that's a great question. Our price is about 2 cents more per kilowatt hour. So we're looking at a slight increase in your utility bill. This is something that I can work with folks on an individual basis to get them an estimate. I've been using CleanChoice since I started working with them 3 years ago, and I have not really noticed much of a change to my utility bill. I think on average it's between $5 to $15 more a month, and this is again to choose clean electricity rather than burning fossil fuels, which we so desperately need to do. I've recently changed my bank right? It's actually called aspiration. They do not invest any of their any of their money in fossil fuels. And so for me, it's that ongoing challenge to divest from fossil fuels. So if that's something that you care about too, that's kind of how I think about it in my mind, that $5 or $10 more a month means that I'm now divested from the fossil fuel industry and I'm not investing to, to pollute with, coal or natural gas energy. But again, that's a really great question. Something that I can, if folks want to send me a copy of their utility bill, I can take a look. But again, this is something you can sign up to do, no sign up or cancellation fees. If you felt like, it was something that you couldn't afford, for any reason, you can just go ahead and cancel it with no cost to you. So it's something that, it's our call to action. We're asking people to get enrolled to help us support clean energy, if you can make that investment in CleanChoice Energy.
Yeah, and talk about putting your money where your mouth is. I mean, CleanChoice Energy is also a B Corp certified business, which is fantastic. So that means you've gone through that rigorous third-party verification process of making sure that your business is, reviewed and that it's, transparent and that, you're involved in the community and your workers are have, workers are supported and the environmental impacts are there. So I think it's fantastic that CleanChoice Energy really has, they're B Corp certified, and the fact that we can support local B Corp certified businesses, I think it's fantastic. Any other questions from the group?
If other people don't have questions, I have another question that might be of interest to our followers and supporters. And that is, how does CleanChoice Energy, the reliability of the energy compare to current, if they're getting energy from fossil fuels or whatever current energy source they're receiving?
Jordan, that's another great question. Thank you. So there is no change to reliability. You will receive your energy the same way. Nothing is going to change for you. You're going to flip on the switch and your electricity is going to be delivered to you. Again, Pepco will continue to deliver your energy to your home. They'll do your service calls because they're going to deliver your energy no matter what. This is about where your energy is sourced from. So it's about, the one thing that I kind of think about it too is I try to grocery shop at the farmer's market. So I try not to buy any of my produce from a grocery store and buy directly from the farmers. And so I think of it kind of that way is, yeah, I pay a little bit more to get my broccoli at the farmer's market, but I know that it's the same broccoli, but I know that I'm supporting a more sustainable practice rather than, going to a grocery store that maybe bought my broccoli from hundreds of thousands of miles away, perhaps. And then I did also want to mention another thing about our mission and our competitors. There are, other folks out there who are doing what we're doing. And I feel really passionately about CleanChoice because we're not part of a larger oil conglomerate. We're not a subset of a business who's trying to do some clean energy. We were founded because we're trying to mitigate climate change and transform the energy grid. And Kim, thanks again for mentioning our B Corp certification. It's something that we're really proud of. Why I'm really excited to be working with nonprofits is that we're invested in the community and we're here, not just to make a profit, but because we're trying to protect our planet and again, transform the energy grid so that we don't have to rely on these polluting sources.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Kathleen. Any other questions from the group? Okay.
I also did want to say enrollment takes 1 minute. So I should have even focused on this a little bit more. If you click the link, go to mycleanchoice.com/Bethesda Green, you're going to click on the link. You're going to put your zip code in, your name, address, and your Pepco account number in, and you're done. You don't have to do anything else. My manager, Jenny Murphy, is on the call, and she loves to say, you can bring your reusable grocery bags. Maybe you can compost. I bring my compost to the farmer's market. But with CleanChoice, it's honestly the easiest thing that I do to protect the planet because I just pay my bill every month. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to bring anything anywhere. And so, once you fill out that form, it's going to take you 1 minute. You don't have to do anything else. And you'll know that 100% of your supply dollars are going to be purchasing that clean energy. And then for folks, maybe you're thinking, I'm going to move soon. Well, if you move in 2 months, no problem. You're just going to cancel your Pepco bill because you're moving. You don't also need to cancel with us because your account's just going to be closed. And then you can enroll with CleanChoice Energy at your new location. So it's really, again, I can't emphasize how easy this is enough. And I know it's a little bit harder in, a virtual space, but when I'm out at the farmers markets and chatting with folks, I pull out my cell phone and we get them signed up right on the spot. So if you've got the 2 minutes today and can make that enrollment to choose clean energy, that $50 will be donated, and we would really love your support.
And hopefully those in-person visits will be able to continue soon. Not too soon, but hopefully safely and soon, which would be fantastic. All right, I think we're going to leave it there. So just to wrap up today, I want to thank everybody for attending, and thank you, Kathleen, for the wonderful presentation today. If folks have additional questions, I believe we put Kathleen's information into the chat, and we will certainly send it out in a follow-up email. If you have any questions about Bethesda Green or about our participation, feel free to follow up with us via email. My email is kim@bethesdagreen.org. We'll also put that in the follow-up email for everybody. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.